I know what you're thinking. Welcome to the Neet Anime Podcast, where you can take a nap to the sound of our voice. I'm your host, Santami, and today we'll be talking about Chainsaw Man Part 2. And 5 chapters have passed, and Denji's finally back. Are people happy?
I'm happy.
You're happy?
Personally. I'm
Good.
very happy.
Good.
Yeah.
Who are you?
My name is You Freaking Nerd. I'm a big time YouTuber on this scene, man, and I got a million bajillion subscribers.
Hell
and
yeah.
I am descending from my throne of
That's the confidence that I hear from your voice is why you're here to talk about Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. Descending from my throne of Pop-Tarts to talk with the peasants about Chainsaw Man. So yeah.
So you're a fan of Chainsaw Man, right?
I love Chainsaw Man. I've got the entire series on my shelf right now. I'm looking at it.
Same.
Yeah. Well, except for this new chapter, this new volume, volume 12 is going to come out in October, so we got another month to wait. But
For part 1? Or part 2?
Oh no, for part 2. Yeah, volume 12 comes out October.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That means this. Wait, there's enough chapters for a volume now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. It's 5.
It's 5 chapters. 5 chapters. One is a double chapter. First chapter is 53.
Actually, 2 are double chapters.
Are they really?
Yeah, the recent one's 50 pages.
Oh,
That's why it took 2 weeks.
I didn't even catch that because see, look, I just reread these, and then when I got to 102, it just went by so fast. I wasn't even. I didn't even catch that it was 50 pages. You're right.
It's really
like 47
long.
pages. Yeah.
There's a lot that happened.
It's true.
But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the first 5 chapters of Part 2 and what we thought and what the implications are to come for the rest. Words, They're hard.
Absolutely. No, and it's yeah. I mean, I guess should we just start with like kind of what our impressions are, or like,
yeah,
or did you want to summarize a little bit so we get some people we're kind of up to speed with what we're talking about?
Well, we can summarize the chapters as we go through each one. But overall impressions, what do you think about Part 2?
I love it. I think it's great.
You do?
Think, yeah, I do. I wasn't 100% on board originally when I first read 98. I was thinking like, I'm not sure how I feel about a new person being the main character essentially. Mm-hmm. But once we got to the end of the chapter, I was like, okay, I'm a little more on board. But after rereading it, more like today, just more recently, I'm like, you know what? No, this is actually incredibly solid.
You're telling me you did not like Bucky?
Oh, I fucking hated Bucky. I'm glad
you hated Bucky.
No. It's more of, I don't even know. It's like kind of like a more of a general vibes situation where like I don't know. I wasn't sure how I felt about not seeing Denji because I was really curious after what Denji was going to be up to in part 2 setting. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the thing that's great is we have Asa, and Asa's such a well put together character, and probably one of Fujimoto's best. I think he just does a really good job.
That's true. Going back to that point about you being disappointed that it wasn't about Denji, a lot of people on Twitter and social media in general were really upset that Denji is just not around for Part 2, and they think that Chainsaw Man is boring and mid now. What are your thoughts about that?
I think those people are weak, and they deserve to be cold. I'm just kidding. No. But no, like on the real, I don't understand how you could be a fan of Fujimoto's work and to act like, well, it's his work's only valuable if it has this character in it, right? Mm-hmm. Like Fujimoto's good at like giving you the information you need when you need it and holding back when it's not necessary to tell you everything. Like, I don't know, Fire Punch. You could even just tag this section and just like say, oh, Nerd talks about Fire Punch, and you could just skip over it or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, there's information about like just world building things where he just doesn't tell you anything, and then he just kind of alludes to it, and then eventually you find out what it is, and you're like, oh, that's neat, And he's doing a lot of the same stuff here. So, but yeah, I liked Asa's introduction. I think she's great, and I think the way the direction has been going has been great. It still feels like Chainsaw Man to me, but
that's good.
Maybe I'm a beta male cuck. I'm not fit to speak because I don't want to have Denji around all the time. You know,
sir, if you don't speed run this whole manga in about 2 hours, you don't deserve to talk about Chainsaw Man.
Oh, that's right. That would be a lot of reading in 2 hours. Holy shit.
So yeah, I personally am the same. I'm fine with Denji not being around. I think Denji's story has been told very well in part 1, and there's like 97 chapters of it. So it's a nice change of pace to like bench Denji. Well, not necessarily bench Denji. Make Denji like this cool, mythological Chainsaw Man hero that people see, or getting a perspective of Denji not from Denji himself. Like these people see him as like a hero, and that's an interesting perspective compared to like how Denji sees himself as like a huge loser.
True. I mean, I even just briefly flipping back into the last two volumes while we were talking, I was just thinking like, he's just kind of pathetic in a lot of ways. But that's also what makes him so relatable.
No, that makes him really relatable. But it's also kind of like, okay, let's see how other people see him as this cool guy, this Chad-like figure.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
All right, so let's go into Directed to 98. Brief summary. We get a new character called Asa Mitaka. She is very sullen and sad because her parents were killed by devils. Her class finds a chicken devil named Bucky and tasks their class to watch over it and look over it and eventually kill it for some asinine reason. I don't remember, but it didn't seem like something that you should be teaching kids, but I don't know. This is their world. Asa eventually talks to this class president. She has a monologue about how she hates the city. She thinks it's corrupt, blah, blah, blah. Class president's like, oh yeah, just keep it together. Eventually we'll kill the chicken. The class eventually goes, yeah, we love the chicken. Let's not kill Bucky. Bucky's cool. Asa's like, what the fuck? I want the chicken to die because she's a devil and I hate devils, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, Asa, ends up liking Bucky. She gets a soft spot for him. And then she trips and kills him. Trips in a critical moment and kills him. Every class pretty much hates her. She is ostracized. And class president and teacher comes in, goes out for a walk. And then we get this twist that the class president and the teacher have been fucking, and the teacher is a pedophile.
Yeah, no, it's really
in Fujimoto fashion.
Yeah, and then she gets taken over by the War Devil when she gets killed. Which, yeah, and then I feel like that and then she obviously kills him, right? But it's really interesting. I think it's actually there's an interesting little I don't know the interesting detail that I found when I reread it was like I kind of forgot about it was that Mr. Tanaka. He wants to bang Asa, but he's sleeping with this other girl, the class president, which is like that's a whole other layer of effed up right there. It's really, really interesting.
Shock.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot to take in right there.
So the War Devil basically takes over her body, kills the two in badass ways. And we get to learn her goals and that she wants to...
I know she says, I'm gonna... Yeah, just you wait, Chainsaw Man. I'll make you vomit nuclear weapons back up.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think in chapter 99 she may explain more specifically that she wants to kill him.
Yeah. But for 98, she wants to vomit up nuclear weapons back up, which calls back to part 1 where Makima says in 84 that... nuclear weapons have been forgotten because Denji ate them.
Because Chainsaw Man ate them.
No, Chainsaw Man ate them. Sorry. You're right. Chainsaw Man ate them.
Yeah, important distinction there because Denji was not Chainsaw Man at that point.
So here's some couple things that I've noticed. So the main one is that how Chainsaw Man is received by the public in that people buy Chainsaw Man buns and there's posters of Chainsaw Man. What do you think about that sort of thing?
I think it's a direct extension of what was set up in 92, where we had him on TV and he was being publicized directly and stuff. And it was an attempt, I think, by Makima originally to expose him in a way, right? To make him more vulnerable, because the less people fear him, the less powerful the devil is, right?
Yeah.
And so that was part of it. But then I think since then, and this is just me speculating, I think Kishibe in the background has been, fueling the propaganda and like spurring it onward to keep Denji. I don't know. I think partly to keep Denji happy, but also to help control the populace in a way, so that certain things will change in their favor. It's not so much like, it's kind of like, I think your public safety division at this point is a lot like the CIA in a way, where they're just doing all sorts of psyop-y bullshit to keep things under wraps and to keep their own activities secret in a way, but also to control things, to keep things moving in the direction they want, even if it's like using nefarious means. So, but yeah, it's interesting.
Another thing that we should probably mention, I've noticed, is Asa's first main monologue that's not about herself or about devils is about how the city is corrupt. And as I quote, as I try to find it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
she says, the city is corrupt. There's a chainsaw man playing a devil hunter. They have a mayor with a DUI. And most of the buildings are legally constructed, which kind of makes sense because the amount of time this city gets destroyed, of course, these buildings are just going to be illegally constructed. And we do get a shot of the city, and it's not like a traditional Japanese city. It feels very like Skid Row.
Looks like reminds me of like, I want to say, I'm not sure what this is. Do you remember Ghost in the Shell, right?
Yeah.
Or like when you're going through the slums and they're just like a bunch of things haphazardly thrown together on top of each other, I think that's like kind of what it calls back to, is something like that. It's kind of the vision, the idea that I have in my head. I don't know if it's like I want to say just like there's a lot of that in like Mexico. I'm just thinking of things that I'm like close to, that I'm aware of, where things are kind of thrown together. They're a little more slapdash. They're not like specifically constructed in a certain way.
Okay.
There's no code involved. It's just like, well, I built this thing here, and then someone built on top of that. So
yeah, for me, it does remind me of like the poor parts of Hong Kong that are very dense, and how the city there's high rises, but they look really bad. They're like really poor and really corrupt. So that's what that kind of reminds me of. But
yeah,
but that's
true.
But it is. I only mention this because it's such an odd like placement compared to like the rest of the chapter. Because there's no reason for her to mention that the city is corrupt if Fujimoto is not going to be like, we're going to have this become a theme later on. So it's kind of like what I feel is like a foreshadowing kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Potentially, I don't know. He doesn't have. He probably won't even talk about the city, but it just seems odd that it's just there.
I think it just kind of it's just kind of a convenient place to put that sort of thing in there.
Yeah, true.
And I think it just kind of works out really well.
True. But it is right after she gets offered a Chainsaw Man bun, and then she starts talking about how the city sucks. It's like, girl, I did not ask.
Yeah. Dude, but she's reminded of the city because she sees the Chainsaw Man advertisement, The whole city's in love with Chainsaw Man,
Yeah. But she doesn't, so she's a hater.
Exactly. She's a true hater.
Truly a hater.
I appreciate that, to be honest. But what's funny is that, like, I feel like in the later chapters, we'll get into that when we get to 99, 100, 102. She is a lot more hateful before the Bucky incident.
Yeah.
Then she starts to kind of retreat into herself a little bit. And when War Devil starts taking over, or Yoru, I guess she calls herself, War Devil starts taking over, she starts to be a little more timid again. And she starts to be a little less outspokenly bitter about things. But that's just that goes with some things that happen. So
okay. And then another thing, when she gets killed, her wish is that she wants to live more selfishly, and that's when the War Devil comes in to possess her body. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Was that really what kind of... Well, yeah. No, I think you're right. Yeah, no, she doesn't exactly say that. Yeah. I think, and this will tie into something later, is that it's very interesting that she's so calm, you know? She has a very calm, like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do with myself kind of thing.
Yeah, like her death thoughts were very like, oh, I guess I'm dying now. I could have done all this. I wish I could. Kind of like Denji in a way, where Denji's like,
yeah,
it's simple.
A good parallel.
Yeah,
it's a good parallel. Yeah, because Denji's kind of like, what does he say? Hold on, I'm opening up chapter 1 again, because he says something along those lines too. He says, do I not? Yeah, just dreaming of a normal life was enough for me. Do I not even get to have that much? And then he gets cut down.
Rip. That's before the zombie devil, right?
Yeah. That's chapter 1 right there.
I'm trying to find that. Aw, Vegeta, cute. Oh, that's weird. I just forgot how marionetted Denji was.
Yeah, he got diced, man. He was very diced up. He was destroyed.
Yep.
Really cool.
And so we can talk more about 98, but I think we should move on to the next chapter. So let's go to 99. And do you want to recap this one?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm fine with that. So 99 kind of kicks off with Mitaka realizing that she's been possessed by this war devil. They go to school together. She tries to explain that she's got this issue with Chainsaw Man where she's like, or she says, oh yeah, so they go to school and she explains that she came to the school to find Chainsaw Man, and then they get approached by some other students. They join this devil hunting group, and then at some point, well, before that happens, she makes a move on New Kid, who's not a new kid. He's our octopus guy from like Public Safety Division, which is interesting.
Yoshida.
Yeah, Yoshida.
Sexy man.
And then she says that I want to turn as many humans into weapons as I can to go to war with Chainsaw Man. So I don't even know if it's necessarily that she wants to kill Chainsaw Man, but she wants to go to war with him. So yeah, or at least she doesn't mention that in this chapter. It might be another chapter that she mentions she wants to kill him. I think she does mention it at some point that she wants to kill Chainsaw Man.
I think wording is very important.
Yeah,
killing in war is completely different.
Yeah, well, killing comes as a part of war, but it's not like it's not direct the whole point necessarily, right?
Yeah, but you don't necessarily. But most wars don't end with the end of a whole country.
Yeah, most wars end with surrender or something like that. Some kind of other compromise in some way.
Yeah, so I feel like she wants to go to war with Chainsaw Man, subdue him, and then turn him into a weapon.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah.
To control him in a way.
That might make sense. Well, and she talks about how I don't know if she mentions it in this chapter. She does mention that her whole thing is turning humans into weapons, but yeah, it's interesting. She's very antagonistic towards Asa. She's like, look, do what I say or I'll kill you, but like Asa blatantly disobeys all the time, and she still just kind of deals with it.
Yeah, and War Devil can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, she can. She just will be out of body. She'll have to find another one, which I think is probably she doesn't want to invest in another one at this point. She's like, all right, I'm going to stick with this one until we get somewhere.
Yeah.
Is kind of the vibe I get.
So the one thing that's caught my attention for this chapter is that the War Devil left her brain half intact because she's unfamiliar with human society. So it leads me to believe that she has not been around recently. And this does take place in the 90s, probably before the year 2000, and in Japan. So I imagine the last real war that Japan had was World War II. And ever since World War II, they've been kind of trying to not go to war.
Right. Well, and the other thing is, it's really important to point out, like you were saying earlier, Chainsaw Man ate certain things, right? Certain things are no longer around. Yeah. And a lot of the big elements of World War II, they're just not around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The Nazis are gone. He ate those.
Yep.
He ate all the Nazis in hell, and he ate nuclear weapons, apparently. Yep. And so the big pressure points, the big like things that I think Japan has very like much on their minds, or at least like even the things that people generally have very, very, very that weigh heavily on their minds. You know, the Nazis and the atrocities they committed, and then the atomic bomb, which both of those events are so huge, and they're such a big fear for people, but they're just not there anymore. So, yeah, like I think it's possible that just the War Devil is just like, you know, it's weak because all the things that are surrounding it have been destroyed in some way or been eaten.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, like you said, it's been a long time, probably, for the War Devil. But I also think hell's just a wacky, weird place where things don't make any sense. I can't imagine there's a lot of productive communication happening there.
Probably not.
I mean, just from what we've seen, I don't know. I think of the Darkness Devil and him walking around being a funky dude and chopping people's arms off and shit. And I'm just thinking like, I can't imagine much scholarly conversations about history are happening there. Jumping ahead a little bit, in 102, what's funny is I don't know if this is a translation thing or not. I have no idea. I haven't read. I don't know. I don't read Japanese, so I can't like really say. But they say at the end of that chapter, so when Denji kills the cockroach devil, on the news they say that Denji saved a cat after killing a cockroach devil, not the cockroach devil, a cockroach devil. So like, what? Those are just around? They're that big?
Yeah, that's the cockroach devil. Is this big buff guy?
But like, no. What's crazy and kind of scary about it is that that's the implication of it being a cockroach devil is that there are several cockroach devils and they all look like that.
Hey man, cockroaches are hard to kill, so
and they're terrifying.
And they're very terrifying. People are afraid of them.
Yeah. So like that, it makes sense that the cockroach devils would be pretty strong. So
it is a funny concept that doesn't even look like a cockroach too. That's the interesting part.
It has the antennas.
Yeah, you're right. It does.
Yeah. Other than
it's
that,
an exoskeleton.
Yeah. Oh, right. It is an exoskeleton. I wasn't even thinking of that. That's
pretty funny.
Pretty clever.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, should we recap 101?
We're still at 100.
Oh, 100 is what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So you're done. We've discussed everything for 99, right?
I think so. I think we discussed that. Oh, except for like,
right.
except for the part where War Devil asked our boy out. That was so funny.
Yeah,
I love that.
Nice.
I think it's really important.
Nice.
I love that he just says, "Shall I make you my boyfriend?" And then also like reacts like, "Oh damn, that's a good line." And he's just like, "Nah, I'm good."
Nah, bitch, you kind of weird.
Well, because the way she said it, it was just really funny and like very like I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Like kind of chewny almost. She's like, I am very confident of myself, but she doesn't know how to talk to humans.
Yeah, true. But I think other than the joke aspect, there's one important thing that did come from that chapter is that when the War Devil does take over her body, her physical appearance does manifest. So Yoshida is able to see her scars. And that does go back to chapter 1, way back, when Makima meets Denji. And her henchman in the back was like, "Is this a devil possession?" And Makima was like, "No, you could see it in his face. It's in the officially translated version." So
I know
I don't have that. I'll just take a picture of it on my volume. But yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I remember that line. I remember that line specifically. Yeah. And it's a good callback because and as we get into this, there'll be a lot more of that. But basically, like, Fujimoto's just been doing really good on world building.
Yeah,
with a lot of this stuff. He stayed in line with what he's set up really well. So it all fits really nicely.
So 99, blah blah blah. You meet our cast. They go to a Devil Hunters Club that just exists, and they're very like, oh yeah, hunting devils is a normal thing, and it's a normal hobby that kids do. So
yeah, it's a normal career aspiration for a lot of people apparently. So
yeah, and you don't need a college degree.
Yeah.
All right, so chapter 100, titled "How to Walk Shoeless."
Yeah.
So Asa is paired up with Yuko and Yoshida. Yuko is a very happy-go-lucky girl, very nice girl, is super into Chainsaw Man, so super fan. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Yoshida is just Yoshida. He's just hot and mysterious. And Asa Mitaka is very she's very embarrassed by the fact that what happened last chapter, and also she's just Asa. Things are happening, and she's just so awkward and cute and adorable. Oh, and she's still going through like the aftermath of the Bucky. She's getting bullied, basically.
Actually, not a lot happens this chapter. They go to look for devils. She finds that her shoes have been covered in raw meat. She leaves without shoes, and then Yuko gives one of her shoes away, and they run home, and then she gives her whole pair, and that's kind of the end of the chapter. But there's a lot of subtext there. There's a lot of things to go into with regards to what the meaning of the shoe is and all that, and I think kind of what it means to Asa to have someone actually kind of be nice to her for a change.
Asa's going through depression, and she has no parents, so she doesn't really have anyone to talk to about her problems. The War Devil actually tries to, help her out, or like tries to comfort her in her weird way. But I think it's more like she's just annoyed because of Asa, because she also feels what she feels.
It's an inconvenience. It's
more of an inconvenience, but the fact that she's like offering to like kill the bullies for her is kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting way of putting it. Yeah. I think it's more that she's like you said, it's an inconvenience, but like she wants Asa to be in a state where she can be useful in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it definitely a lot of the stuff that gets talked about in this chapter kind of pays off later.
Yeah,
in the next two.
It's more of a setup chapter, and then more of a like, let's get to know about our characters. Yuko's so cool.
Yeah.
Will she feel bad when she dies? No. Oh God, no.
Yeah, it's a real sweetheart. Yeah, what a good character. Here's the thing. I wonder about that because people keep talking about like Yuko. Like even when 99 dropped, they're like, oh boy, I love these new characters. I can't wait to see them die next chapter. And like the thing is, I feel like Fujimoto is just going to be a lot more of a tease with the deaths this time around. He'll do it. Don't get me wrong. He's going to kill everybody off. Like he's going to kill a lot of people in this over the course of the story. He's already set it up. And when we get to chapter 101, it's just that might as well just be the death flag chapter because you just spend the whole chapter setting up Yuko's death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Maybe in like 2-3 chapters they're gonna be dead, but like what if he keeps them around for like 30 chapters and then kills them off, right? He's left himself open to the possibility of doing that because in chapter 101 the War Devil explains that like the more bad she feels about killing someone, the stronger the weapon is that she makes from it. So yeah
I think the other thing is that Fujimoto, I think he's aware of how he's perceived by his fan base. So I think he knows that people expect him to start killing characters really fast. But even in Chainsaw Man Part 1, he kind of showed some restraint. Like it didn't it wasn't happening right away. It was like a couple arcs later. It happened more frequently than compared to other series. But it wasn't like introduce a character, they die right away. It was more like introduce a character. We get like 1 or 2 arcs with them. And then the next one is like the big one, and people start dying, and it's like tragic and all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that I'm forgetting her name, man? Is it Yuko? Is that her name?
The glasses girl?
Yeah,
that's her name.
Is it
Yuko.
Okay.
No. Yuno's the other one.
Yeah, Yuko. Sorry. No, it's hard. Here's the other thing about Yuko is she's a little nondescript in a way. Mm-hmm. Like she's got glasses, short hair. She just kind of isn't. I don't know. I don't know. I guess she's unique enough by character design standards, but she's not like
She's very boring looking.
Yeah. I'd say she's kind of
plain looking.
Like, I wonder if Yuko is meant to be Aki, right? People keep talking about Yuko and Yuko being like Aki. And then you even brought up, well, we can talk about that when we get to chapter 101. But, you know, Yuko is, I don't know, like, I wonder if she's going to be that. It would be really interesting if he took this character that's very, like, sub-character at this point and made her super important to the story.
Well, the thing that you bring up with her being Aki, I more like see her as like Denji, and Asa would be Aki, because one, Yuko, character design wise, looks a bit similar to Denji with the blonde hair and the plain face. Not necessarily like the feralness, but like overall like silhouette, I guess. And the fact that there's a nice Easter egg of Yuko holding an axe and Asa holding a katana, which Denji had an axe in the early days of his devil hunting days.
In round 1.
In round 1, yeah.
Yeah. That's what we think about Fujimoto. It's a fight in a boxing ring. That's what watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. She Yuko does have the axe.
She has a lot of like Denji characteristics of looking on the bright side of things.
Yeah,
trying to help people.
Which is why people were theorizing that Yuko was secretly Denji the whole time.
Yeah, Denji but hiding as a girl. I actually kind of believe that was the case, but that just seemed a little bit distracting. I don't think Denji would go out of his way to dress up like a woman.
Yeah,
but
seemed a little odd.
It's a bit odd even for him.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah,
her mannerisms are very similar. And then Asa's like the depressed like girl with the sad backstory, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's definitely Aki. That's true. Actually, very Aki.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair point. Also, the long black hair, I think that also adds to it.
Yeah. And then, which would bring us to chapter 101, where we get to learn more about those two. And so the two go out of town to try to kill a devil, because you need to kill a devil and bring it back to join the actual devil hunting club, which seems very, very dangerous, but they just treat it as like this is going to be fun, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just an adventure.
Just an adventure. Nothing bad will ever happen. And it seems like that's how the current world is. It's just, devils, I guess they exist, but they're not really a threat. So people are just living out their lives, despite the fact that they should be scared. But, they're trying to avoid that because fear makes devils stronger. So,
yeah, that does make sense. Actually, I think that's a good that's a good explanation. Yeah, people are trying not to think about it because that's just terrifying, isn't it? Like, if you think about it, it gets stronger. It's just like how do you not think about it once you know that that's the case, right?
Yeah.
How do you get that out of your head and then just like, nope, I'm just not going to think about that anymore? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I'm writing a story where a main character has like another character tapping into their brain, and it's like, how do you keep that person from knowing what you're thinking, right?
Well, I don't know.
How do you keep them guessing? It's really hard.
I never
know. Really hard to figure out.
Okay, so goes to school. We learn that Yuko's parents were also killed by a devil, but she has a very positive outlook compared to Asa, who's very negative. Yuko is still optimistic. She's like, oh, my parents were killed by a devil, but I get to be an Avenger. It'll be cool. Like a happy Sasuke.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, she strikes me as a very, in a way, a very ordinary high school girl, right?
Yeah.
It's a very ordinary kind of way of thinking about things.
Yeah, and that could be her way of processing her grief, too.
True.
But we don't necessarily know. But for now, she's just a very happy girl. And she pees when she gets excited.
I like that detail. I remember that part. It was really good. It's pretty funny.
So after she leaves, the War Devil's like, we should kill her. And Asa's like, what? And War Devil's like, turn her into a weapon.
And she says, he's like, oh, you like her, right? That means it'll be easier to make her your weapon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something I want to call back to in chapter 98, right?
Yes.
She used Mr. Tanaka and made him into a weapon,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, a sword.
She turned him into a sword by ripping out his spine through his head. Now, the important thing to point out is that Fujimoto has been 100% super consistent this entire time leading up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things he got like 100% right with that little detail, remember when I said that there was that level of all kinds of fucked up where the teacher was banging the class president.
Yes.
But he wanted Asa, right?
Yes.
So he was in love with Asa, so that means he was hers, right? So by the logic of the War Devil, she can turn him into a weapon.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
The only thing that kind of messes that up is that she also takes what's-her-face's, the class president's hand and turns it into a hand grenade, right? So I'm not sure how that works. I guess it's because she cut it off and then picked it up. Maybe it's mine now that I picked it up. Maybe that's the logic. But, I think it's a little bit weaker than, this guy's infatuated with me, therefore he's mine. Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think the difference between the two weapons works really well. The grenade is like a little less personal, right? But like the crazy cool spine sword that screams when you swing it is like, that's a little more of a, I think that would be considered a more powerful weapon, right?
Well, also you have to think about the relationship before the event that happened, where the class president was basically the only person that talked to Asa. So maybe in Asa's eyes, she probably saw her as a friend. And when she died, she might have felt a little bit guilty. That's actually true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually true. No, that's a good point. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
No, so I guess she's technically hers too. Yeah. In the same way Yuko is hers, right?
Yeah.
In the way that she's her friend, right? Mm-hmm. So there you go. Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's a good point. But yeah, I think that's also why she lets Asa do whatever the weird shit she does, is because the more connections she makes, the more friends she has, the more weapons the War Devil potentially has access to.
Yeah.
Right?
And the key word is guiltier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the more guilty you are, the more powerful the weapon.
So if Bucky if War Devil was alive when Bucky was there, Bucky would be a nuclear wet bomb.
No, he wouldn't. And you know why that is, right?
Yeah, I know why that is. Because she hates that motherfucker. It was just guilty that she got caught.
Now, was that in chapter 101 or 102?
102.
I forget.
102. We'll get to that later.
102, yeah. But they're both basically the same chapter. I mean, basically, they go out, they get intercepted by the Bat Devil, and then we have flashbacks and other such information, things that happen. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they, anyways, sorry.
All right, so moving on ahead, we get more banter between the War Devil and Asa, and eventually Asa's like, call me Asa, and the War Devil's like, fine, you can call me Yoru. And then we finally get their official names, or her official name. And in Japanese, Asa means morning, Yoru means night, which is like another instance of yin and yang parallels. Oh, yin and yang seems to be like a running motif for this manga, because you have Asa and Yuko. Then you have, because they're both kind of similar, but they have different like personalities, even though they have like the same kind of backstory. And then War Devil's with Asa. There's a lot of twos, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Of pairs.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of pairing up going on. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's very smart.
Yoru's very different compared to Asa, but they share the same body, so blah blah. That comes up more in 102. So anyway, after they're walking around, we get this, what's this called? Like a preacher or like a
I guess you could say a preacher, politician, something like that. I would say it's probably more like he's just I don't know. I don't know what his deal is. Maybe he's trying to sell something. Maybe he's more of a protester.
Protester, cult leader, I don't know. Point is, he has a monologue where he's like telling people that the biggest thing is not whatever the news says. It's devils. Yeah. Devils are bad. Devils kill people. People die from devils, which is true. But I think the problem is
seven out of every 20 deaths is because of a devil attack.
Yeah,
apparently,
which is true. But I think the problem is that he's spreading this fear.
Yeah,
which is probably not something that is legal in this city. But I don't think that necessarily causes devils to show. I think that's just like there are people like this that are aware of what's happening, that are aware of that people are dying, and that should be a concern that the city is not, or the government isn't really doing anything about. blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And that, goes back to chapter 1 where Asa says that the city's corrupt. These are haters.
True.
So anyway, after that, Devil shows up, and we get a Goya reference.
Bit of a...
I think it's a Bat Devil, kind of.
Yeah, it is I think it is I don't know if it's the Bat Devil, but it is a Bat Devil for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe the Bat Devil came back or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's probably that there's multiple Bat Devils.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. But this giant monster devil shows up, and these kids were gonna hunt them with a katana and a dinky axe, thinking that would work. Because I think that they have their only context of devils is Bucky, so I think they expected to find a Bucky, but
and I think the propaganda of Chainsaw Man being this cool hero that saves people is also messing with people's heads.
Yeah. People are kind of forgetting that devils are a threat, and the guy before is a reminder. Yet yes, devils are a threat. They can be this big, and they do kill people. And then afterwards, we have bad news. Yoru cannot do anything if Asa is afraid. She cannot take over her body.
And once again, we have another parallel to his earlier world building, mm-hmm. where when in Asa's last moments, she talks. The War Devil gives her the contract terms, right? Mm-hmm. She was very calm when she was dying.
Yeah,
which is kind of uncharacteristic of her character at that point. But she was like, well, I guess that's it. And because she was so calm, that allowed the War Devil to take over.
Oh yeah, you're right. That is true.
Yep. So.
Also,
then we go
real
ahead.
quick. I do have to mention there is no mention of contract in chapter 1, even though chapter 98, which is contracts are a really big thing in this world, but the War Devil does not mention any sort of contract, so it's completely different from like Denji's situation, which is interesting.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, he doesn't mention contract. He just takes over a body, or he says if you
want
want to live, your body will be mine. But he doesn't specify it as a contract. It just seems like he just kind of forced it on her. Now,
okay.
I don't necessarily... Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it isn't a contract. It's just that the wording contract is not used, so it's not... So we don't know if it's an actual contract or not.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Good point. And then we get 102, which is the end of this Bat Devil conflict, essentially, where Asa's running away, and Yoru's saying, fuck you, turn her into a weapon and then fight. Otherwise, we're going to die.
Yeah.
Denji shows up and kills the Bat Devil by accident after Asa's had her little flashback, and then we get a little bit of Denji. Hooray!
Yeah, Denji's back. Yay!
Denji's back.
But before we get to Denji, we need to talk about what happened.
Yeah.
So yes, Yuko is injured. Ooh, that's a bad injury.
Yeah, you missed that. Yeah, leg injuries are bad. People forget leg injuries are really bad. Like there are so many big, huge arteries in your legs. Like if you have a leg injury, leave that shit alone, or like put pressure on it, like literally, because you'll bleed out so fast from your legs.
Yeah,
like people don't realize that.
Yeah, don't take that out.
Yeah, not until she's at a hospital.
Okay, so Yoru wants to turn into a weapon to increase her chances of survival. Very practical woman. Very practical devil. Mm-hmm. And then she starts saying, and then she goes into her psyche and tells her that you're not sorry for killing Bucky. You're sorry that you got caught killing Bucky. Which, yeah, that's a real thing that does happen for people.
Well, and not only that, we already established earlier on in that entire that chapter, like most of the chapter was her just being disgusted with Bucky because he's a devil. Mm-hmm. She hates devils, which makes sense because devils killed her parents, right? So
exactly,
why would she be okay with it? Mm-hmm. And when the entire class decided to spare Bucky, she was like, "What the hell is this? Oh man, what the hell?" And she was really, really upset about it. And then, but she didn't intend to kill Bucky. That's the important thing.
She didn't.
And that's what we talk about in her little flashback where she talks about how she always trips up at the worst possible
the most critical
times.
moment. So before that, she does try to save her friend, which Yoru says like, "You're an idiot," and then she trips. She always trips at the most critical moment, which does go back to Bucky when she tripped and killed Bucky, and then we get some flashbacks of her falling, fail in her life, which happens a lot.
Some of them are
Literally.
some of them are really good. Like the one where at the birthday party, was she like, I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't think she tripped. She fell off her chair. It looks like it, the way it's drawn.
Right. But it's like, but it clearly wasn't her birthday.
Yeah,
it was
someone else's birthday.
But how did she trip and take the cake with her? Unbelievable.
She was probably carrying it over and then sat down and then tripped because that's what it looks like.
That's true.
And then she trips on her run. Oof.
Yeah, relay race.
So close.
Yeah.
And then the worst part, I think this was during, what devil was this again? This was in part 1.
I believe that's the, well, wait, maybe it's not. You know, I'm looking at it now. I thought maybe it was the big devil baby, whatever, that Denji was fighting. But then it looks like a completely different devil because it's like he's got like these nose hairs that I don't recognize. And then also it's in a more rural environment. It's not in like a city environment, so it must not be the same one.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking it's the devil that fought along with Reze. Or Rizy.
That's what I thought. Reze, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But it looks completely different. It also looks like it's during the daytime, and I thought that fight happened at night.
I'll have to like double check. It could be the same devil, but at like a different time. But we'll have to check.
That's actually true.
We'll have to be a reference. But anyway, Asa's running with her mom, trying to escape. Asa sees a cat that injured her leg, goes out of her way to save it, trips because she always does. Mom's like, "Oh no, I gotta save my child." Picks her up, pushes her out of the way, and gets crushed by a car. Really, really sad.
Yeah.
And to Asa, the worst part is that someone tells her that she saved a kitty and that she should be proud, but she basically got her mom killed by doing that. And she blames herself, but she tries to blame devils, but in reality, it's her fault. Even in the most cruelest sense, it is her fault that her mom died.
Well, the most important part about it is the next bit where Yuka talks about her, lending her shoes, and she says, "I don't really care how you feel, as long as my heart was in the right place. That's all that matters to me."
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh yeah, I want to live like that too." She wants to be like that. Yeah, it's my fault my mom died, but my heart was in the right place.
Yeah. So
that's what she wants to do. And then it kind of goes back to, and then they all get eaten by the Bat Devil, and then we get Denji.
And Denji, while fighting another devil, kills the devil that was chasing them.
Yeah, just kills that devil by accident. Completely by accident.
Classic Denji. So we fight this cockroach devil. Big guy. Tons of buildings get destroyed. Eventually, the cock devil was like, "Why are you working with the humans when you're a devil?" And it's like, "We're going to have a trolley problem. You want to be a superhero? Well, have a trolley problem. Save one guy or save 5 people." And then Denji's like, "Screw it. I'm going to kill them all." So he just ignores them and kills the devil and saves the little cat as the third option. And we get this awesome one-page panel of Denji holding a cat.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of reminds me of Denji's and Power's love for cats.
Yeah. Well, but I think it's just great. I think Fujimoto is just once again proving that his chaotic energy and his sense of humor wins out in the end. Yeah. I think it's really funny that Denji ignored the trolley problem and saved the cat.
Yeah. Denji's
he didn't get hung up on it and go, "Oh no, which one should I save?" He just kind of was like, "There was a cat. I'm going to save the cat." Him intentionally saving the cat would parallel Asa really nicely, because Denji's heart was in the right place. Don't you understand? His heart was in the right place. He let 6 people die, but his heart was in the right place. See? Because he was trying to save the cat.
Also, that goes with the yin-yang aspect of the two, as Asa saved the cat, but felt horrible because she let her mom die, or people die. Denji doesn't give a shit. He saved the cat and is happy that he saved the cat.
Right.
He's like, "I will take the best." And the news reflects that.
Yeah, and yet another inch of heroism. Chainsaw Man saved a cat from a cockroach devil. Now that's the biggest one for me. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned this before, but he saved a cat from a cockroach devil.
Yeah,
so there's more. There's more of those bastards, and they all look that. They're all that big. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and I think the news is very important. because one, they're hiding the fact that the people died, and they're praising Denji as like this mythological hero, a superhero. When we know Denji's not a superhero, we know because we've seen part 1 that he's just a weird kid that happens
regular
to have
kid, yep.
Chainsaw Man powers. But that also goes with Asa as the main character, who is a bit more normal. And I think it's a nice change of pace of just having a regular main character for once.
Yeah, it's a nice contrast.
Nice contrast.
Denji's such a wackadoo.
Yeah, he's so wacky. It's so bizarre.
Guys are so weird, for real.
Yeah, guys are weird. So that's the end of 102, and I see there's a lot of potential implications of having Denji here. So I see two things. Either we go back to Denji, we get to see what he's been doing, or we continue Asa's story and Denji's just in the background doing his thing, and people are like loving him, and there's obviously going to be haters, and we get to see like the aftermath and how Asa feels and blah 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 and all that stuff. But what do you think about that sort of thing?
I think I think he's going to stay in the background for a little while.
Yeah,
and I'm chill with it, to be honest.
Same.
I'm totally cool with it.
I'm okay with it.
I think it's all right. I'm glad that he'll be in the background and just kind of doing his thing. And then I anticipate some interesting developments later. Eventually, once we get to his side of the story. Hopefully, we don't take as long as Attack on Titan took to get back to Aaron's perspective. Because I think that was also a major reason why people were disappointed with the way the series ended.
You say that,
but that's another thing.
Tons of people think that whatever chapter that Eren and Reiner meet is probably the best chapter of the whole series. So it does pay off, even though there's like a bunch of chapters of Reiner's perspective that maybe people might not like, but the payoff was huge, and it is like the best chapter, or one of the best chapters of Attack on Titan. When Eren comes back,
I'm more talking about. I guess that's true. No. I guess the parallel would have ended at Marley. That's if we're talking about that. So this has actually been a lot faster than getting us back to Denji. Obviously,
no. The fact that we see Denji is already really fast.
Yeah. I kind of thought it was going to be like 20 chapters. I even said that, I think, originally when we first started the Asa's thing, and back in chapter 98, I was like, you know what, we'll probably have 20 chapters before we see Denji, and then we see him in chapter 5. So, okay.
Yeah,
I guess he's
back.
I guess we're already here. Actually, I'm really curious. I hope the covers reflect this. I'd like for the colors to be reversed in the covers. I think it'd be really cool.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like how Naruto Part 1 and Part 2, you know, Naruto's spines were all white, and then Part 2's spines are all black. I think it'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
If Chainsaw Man does a similar thing, they'll have like the spine will be black, and then the lettering will be white, you know, and then we'll have kind of a similar thing.
But I feel like they'd only do that if Fujimoto commits to making Asa the main character, which actually would kind of make sense, because the previous one-shots, most of the themes were about how people might be disappointed that he won't be able to live up to Part 1. And I think one of the disappointments would be Denji not being the main character in Part 2. And I think that could be a legit fear for him, because he's going his way to make Asa the main character for Part 2. I don't think for all of Part 2, but like for a good, at least in the beginning. I can see it in the beginning.
I think I'd say a good majority of it, potentially.
Maybe.
I could see it. And you know what? I'm cool with it, because I think we need a little bit of time to build up Denji to get him back to main character status.
Yeah.
Before we can have him back as a main character.
Yeah. There's like so much things that you could do with the. Be like Metal Gear Solid 2, honestly, where
he needs. And to be honest, I haven't played Metal Gear Solid 2.
Well, the thing is that you play as Snake in the beginning, and then or 25% of the game, and the rest of the game you play as the complete opposite of Snake, like Raiden, who's a complete loser, and then Snake shows up randomly as this badass, like what Denji is right now, and you get like the outside perspective of Snake being like this cool hero, but you're stuck playing this guy that runs around naked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but and a lot of people were really upset in the beginning, but eventually, like as time passed on and we get more context for the other games, people start realizing, oh, Metal Gear Solid 2 was actually really good. Yeah, and way ahead of its time. But I don't know.
I've heard that. Yeah. I've heard good things about it. I need to play it actually at some point, but
yeah.
Copies are expensive.
That's true.
I want to get a ROM. I'm just kidding. No, I don't support piracy. Just kidding.
Excuse me. But anyway, that was Chainsaw Man. The first 5 chapters of Chainsaw Man Part 2. We spent a good hour, which is great. Talked about some great things. Any final thoughts about this, about these 5 chapters and the future of Chainsaw Man Part 2?
I think it's really promising.
Yeah,
I think he's knocked it out of the park again.
Mm-hmm.
I think originally, I would say before I reread it just recently, I would say I was going to say like, it's pretty good. Maybe not as good as Part 1, but pretty good. But now I'm like, no, it's just as good as Part 1, and if anything, it's gotten better. I think he's gonna continue to do better and do more. He's already built up more. He's already shown that he can introduce really interesting and enriching characters in a short period of time and build them up to be favorites in his one shots in Look Back and in both in Look Back and in what's it?
Goodbye, Ari?
Sayonara. Yeah.
Or Just Listen to the Song, whatever.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like Just Listen to the Song. I didn't like it.
Well, that seemed more like a throwaway. He didn't draw it either, so it was more of like a brief idea. Like, yeah.
I kind of felt that way too. I felt like it was kind of phoned in compared to the other two. Goodbye Area was a little more fleshed out, and so was Look Back.
Well,
both of those were.
That's hard to say because those 2 one shots were like hundreds of pages long, and then Just This Song is just a nice short one shot, just to talk about his feelings before Chainsaw Man Part 2 comes out.
I know. I just remember people were telling me that they were like, "Oh, it's so good."
Oh no, absolutely not.
I love Look Back, and I'm like, it's not great. They're like, "Oh man, it was such peak," and I'm like, "Dog."
Wait, no, Look Back was good. What the fuck are you talking about? You mean Just Listen to the Song?
Yeah,
the short
just
one.
Listen to the song.
Not Look Back. Look Back is the good one.
Sorry. Look Back is good. Goodbye Area is also amazing.
Yeah.
I like both of those.
Yeah, both are really good.
Yeah. But
and you can also see him like the style that he puts in Chainsaw Man too. The references and all that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, wait, they're doing I was just looking on Amazon. They're doing Tatsuki Fujimoto before Chainsaw Man, 17 to 21.
What?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, it's probably a collection of his one shots actually.
That'd be cool.
Which is wild.
He has a lot of one shots.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy that we're getting something like that.
Dude, he's a superstar.
Yeah, apparently
manga superstar.
Yep. All right.
So my quick thoughts is that I think the first 4 chapters of Part 2, I feel they're more interesting compared to Part 1. I do like Part 1's first 5 chapters because Aki and Denji's relationship is funny, but you could tell it's still rough, and Fujimoto's going through like, what did this story become? I have these ideas, kind of flesh it out a bit, and then we get like Denji's like
I think
goals.
I think your feelings are more realizing that Fujimoto's just gotten better as an author over the period of time of writing Chainsaw Man. Not to say that he wasn't great before. I mean, he wrote Fire Punch. Fire Punch is great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love Fire Punch, but I think it's also that he's just constantly improving. The guy's just getting better all the time, and that's really good. That's good to see.
Yeah.
So
I will say that for me personally, Part 1, I don't think it gets really great until after the Bat arc, in which we're during the Bat arc, not where we get introduced to power and we get Denji's like, I'm gonna touch boobs. That's when I was like, yeah. I'm in. but for this, for Part 2, I'm like, oh shoot, Bucky died, and I'm already in.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it's I think Chapter 1 is a better hook into Part 2, so he's doing a good job there.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, he just gets you.
Yeah, he does. I think he's just really effective.
Yeah.
I'd say he's very effective at what he does.
So anyway, thank you so much, Nerd, for talking with me about Chainsaw Man. You have
for sure.
Anything you want to say?
Come subscribe to You Freaking Nerd. We have all sorts of fun here. All sorts of fun. Oh yeah. I'm probably gonna do another Chainsaw Man video at some point. Probably not talking about a lot of the stuff we talked about here,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more stuff from part 1, some observations I've had and things like that. I'm also going to be doing a video about Predator and Prey, the new Predator movie, and comparing the first movie to the newest one. So, yeah, look forward to that. You can just subscribe to me and also subscribe to Satami.
Yes. Please. I need to do that too. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Thank you for listening to the Neet Anime Podcast. I hope you enjoyed your nap. If you're awake, please leave a like and subscribe. I hope I can get to do more of this because this was fun.
Thanks so much for having me on.
No problem, man. Thank you for being here and
See
talking
ya.
about Chainsaw Man.
Bye-bye.
Bye.